Welcome to Lemoore City Council City Chambers, 429 C Street, November 2nd, 2021. Please silence all electronic devices as a courtesy of those in attendance. Thank you very much. This is the 6:30 p.m. closed session. The items have been set aside for City Council to meet in a closed session to discuss matters pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9 D4. The city attorney will provide an oral report regarding the closed session at the beginning of the next regular City Council meeting. 1. Government Code Section 54957, Public Employee Performance Evaluation of the City Manager. Number 2. Government Code Section 54957.6, Agency Designated Representatives Mary Lerner, City Attorney, and Michelle Spear, Assistant City Manager. Employee Organizations, General Association of Service Employees, GAS. 3. Government Code Section 54956.8, Conference with Real Property Negotiators, Property APN 023-290-003. Agency Negotiator, Nathan Olson, City Manager, under negotiation price and term. In the event that all the items on the closed session agenda have not been deliberated in the time provided, City Council may continue the closed session at the end of the regular scheduled City Council meeting. And with that, we are adjourned into closed session. Council Chamber, 429 C Street, November 2nd, 2021. This is the 7:30 regular session, and we're going to go ahead and call to order, and we're going to do the invocation. And after the invocation is done, please stay standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Bow your heads and join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, you gave us a free will to express our opinions. We do this today in a wonderful democracy that we call the United States. Please allow us to respect each other's opinions, care for others as citizens and as neighbors. We do this all in your name. Amen.
Amen. Ready, salute. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, we'll have roll call now.
Good evening. Councilmember Orth,
Here.
Councilmember Gornick,
Here.
Councilmember Cheney,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Matthews, here, and Mayor Lyons.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, we have quorum. So on to the next, we're in public comment. Public comment will be in accordance with
Mayor, can I do
I'm
closed
sorry,
session report?
agenda approval additions and or deletions.
Yeah, so there's no, nothing to report from closed session and there's no agenda additions or deletions.
Thank you. Sorry about that. I'll always skip that. Don't I? Public comment. Public comment will be in accordance with the attached policy. This time is reserved for members of the audience to address the city council on items of interest that are not on the agenda and are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the council. It is recommended that speakers limit their comments to 3 minutes and that request that no comments be made during this period of time. The council is prohibited by law from taking any action on matters or discussed that are not on the agenda. Prior to addressing the council, any handouts for council will be provided to the city clerk for distribution to the council and appropriate staff. So, is there any public comment today?
Mr. Mayor?
Yep.
I don't have a public comment. I just want to make a comment on our directions to the public. Do we also instruct the members of the audience that if they want to make a comment on an agenda item, they can do so at the time the agenda comes up?
Yeah, if they come up and if they start to make a comment about an agendized item, we'll let them know that when that item comes up, will be the time for them to make a comment on that item.
All right.
Are you asking that that be part of the general
I would
instructions so
think
that
it'd
the
be-
public's
I
not
think it'd be helpful
confused?
to be part of the general instructions, just so that they know that, they can come up later. They don't have to come up here and do it.
So you're trying to add stuff that I have to read every day?
Yes,
All right.
if you do such a
Just
good
twice a
job
month.
of that, then I just thought it would just be.
Yeah, thanks, Frank.
You're welcome.
All right, so I guess we'll add that. So no, Marissa, do you have anybody online with a comment?
I don't know.
Okay, no public comment, none. Wow, Mr. Reed, I can't believe you passed. So I guess we're gonna move on to the ceremonial presentation. I think we have something today. It looks like we do. Looks good. So 1-1, the American Legion Post 100, Lemoore Police Officers and the Firefighter of the Year from Lemoore Volunteer Fire Department. Mr. Kendall.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. I'll go ahead and start it off on the Lemoore Police Department's behalf. Can I have Mr. Ince, the American Legion Post 100 Commander, come up?
Hey, you guys, come on in here and stand on the sides. There's a few seats on this side. Sorry, Mr. Kendall. But
That's all right.
there's a lot of hoodlums standing behind you right now.
I don't think they care.
They can't hear me? Well, that's good. You guys come on in. There's a couple seats on the right and the rest of you guys can go ahead and stand on the sides.
Like they're in timeout.
Yeah. Yeah, that was my.
Brought the whole firehouse down. All right.
All right, Chief.
All right. It is my honor to present our 2021 Officer of the Year, Brandon Gresham. Brandon, can you come up here? Officer Gresham takes pride in being a proactive and making a difference, by being proactive and making a difference in the community. He has received numerous citizen citations, all describing him to be respectful, professional, and empathetic. Officer Gresham places tremendous value on public safety and always goes above and beyond the call of duty. Over the past year, he responded to approximately 1,607 calls for service. 1,107 of those calls for service were self-initiated. He investigated 383 cases, issued 273 citations, made 712 traffic stops, and made 350 arrests. Supervisors have acknowledged Officer Gresham's outstanding work ethic and genuine desire to make a difference in the city of Lemoore. In addition to many department accommodations, Officer Gresham was recognized by Mothers Against Drunk Driving during the 2021 MAD Law Enforcement Recognition Awards for his 34 DUI arrests. He continues to expand on his knowledge and skills by successfully testing for and acquiring positions within the department. He plays an active role as range master, armorer, arrest control instructor, impact weapons instructor. And earlier this year, Officer Gresham was selected as a SWAT operator for the Central Valley Regional SWAT Team. It is my honor to recognize Officer Gresham as Lemoore PD's 2021 Officer of the Year.
Thank you.
Let's go up here. With that, I'll turn it over to Fire Chief Bruce Sherman.
Right.
Good evening, everyone. I never can speak as well as Officer Kendall does. Officer Kendall is just forced to have a Chief Kendall. But this is going to be, it's the American Legion Award Firefighter Certificate of Commendation presented to Chris Scaldi of the Lemoore Volunteer Fire Department. This is awarded for outstanding public service benefiting our community, state, and nation. Chris Scaldi joined the Lemoore Volunteer Fire Department in May of 1999. He has served on the department's rating committee as well as the membership committee and has fulfilled the chairman positions on several committees at one time or another. He has served the department as crew captain, secretary treasurer, vice president, president, and is currently serving as the second assistant fire chief for the Lemoore Volunteer Fire Department. Chris responded to 957 calls for service in 2020 and has accumulated more than 13,538 calls for the service during his 22 and a half years with the department, which include fire, public assist, and medical calls, as well as department meetings, trainings, and exercises. Chris is a loving husband and father, as well as a continuation teacher at Jameson High School, where he is a former state teacher of the year for continuation schools. Not only has he volunteered his time in the fire department, he has sat as a city council member and coached numerous years of high school football. Chris has dedicated his time to not only the children of Lemoore, but the community of Lemoore, which shows his commitment to making this city something he is proud of. So, Mr. Christopher Scaldi.
Congratulations, Chris. Love you, buddy.
We're going back to drill.
All right, you guys go do your thing. I'll be over there shortly. Well, you guys didn't all have to go. Gee whiz.
I heard the fire out.
Wherever that was, huh?
Well, you know how to clean out a room there.
Man, here we go. Back to our regular 3 people crowd. Thanks, staff.
Yeah.
All right.
Not you.
Mr. Grimbraker, what are you doing?
She's never seen you.
No, I don't think many people have. Heck, I think it was first half the fire department seeing you sit up here. All right. Well, that was fun. So moving on, I guess, department and city manager reports.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. We'll start out tonight with Miss Michelle Spear.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I just wanted to give you a brief update on a couple of things that are happening in finance. So we are well on our way through the 2021 audit. Our auditors are actually going to be on site next week. We're already in November. And that should be part of the final phase. We're hoping to have the audit to you in either January or February for your review and hopefully approval. As well, we have already begun our implementation process through Tyler Technologies, which is the new ERP software that we purchased. We have probably had a good 40 to 48 hours worth of implementation training in just the last few weeks. And we will be doing that continuously for the next several years. And that's all.
I have a couple questions, Michelle. So do we have any reluctant volunteers in the organization as far as adapting the new technology, or is everybody anxious to?
So we haven't gotten to that point yet. What we're doing right now is just an analysis of how we currently do business so that the core group of individuals that are working on the GL, so the general ledger, we've been participating in trainings to explain to the new consultant how we currently do business and how it's going to translate into the new software. So none of our end users have had any training yet. That will come later.
So are we, in other words, the way you post things in your ledger, are you going to be able to do things that are going to create greater efficiencies for you?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay, so you're not going to do the same old thing into yourself?
No, they just have to have an understanding of our workflow process, I guess is probably a really good way to describe that.
And they're going to recommend different workflows that'll cut out some.
Yes, it is a collaborative process. There's a lot of discussion between the Tyler Technologies consultant and our staff about how we want that to work, but there's always room to modify it later as we actually go into our go live phase. So before we get into that, we will be working in a training module to make sure it's working how we want it to work.
So you'll be going into the modules, not all at one time, but
No.
okay, good.
Yeah, it's like a 3-year process.
Good. Thank you.
Okay, next up, Frank Rivera.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Just want to update you on a few projects that we have currently going and some that are coming up. The road maintenance project that started last week. We slurry about 5 miles of roads. They're all done with slurry. Next week, they will actually finish up any striping that was pre-existing. But yeah, I haven't really heard any complaints. I think it went fairly smooth for this time of the year. SB1, we closed bids last week. We'll be bringing back that to you next week with the low bidder, and we'll get that contract awarded. As I mentioned earlier, that project will happen in phases. We'll try to do some work before the weather gets cold, but the brunt of the work will happen in springtime. And then there was also was a request for a street light to be added at Cedar 19th Avenue. We've ordered the parts. The parts should be coming in any time now. Just want to let council know that right now we only have one option to point the light in the direction of Cedar and not 19th Avenue because of the high voltage line. Putting a high voltage line underneath that, or street light underneath the high voltage line is a problem with PG&E. So we more than likely will not be able to do that. So it will light up the intersection, but it won't be as bright as we'd like it to be. But that is in progress.
Okay.
That's it.
Thank you, Frank. Chief Kendall?
Good evening again, Mr. Mayor and council members. Two things. We held our second annual memorial, or Officer Diaz Memorial Run from Huron to Lemoore this morning. Went well. We had a really good turnout. We had about 12 sworn officers running that route, as well as the Diaz family. So that went good. We finished up around 11 today. Lastly, we have, we're going to be participating in No Shave November again this year. So if you see officers out there with beards, they have, we require them to buy into the challenge and then raise money, and all that money will go towards a cancer fund. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. There's a couple things coming out of my office. Twas the night before Halloween was a very successful event downtown. I received multiple calls and several emails from downtown business owners and residents about how well attended that was and what a nice event it was. So kudos out to our Parks and Rec and Sheila and Mom for putting that together. Additionally, I think I heard that National Night Out was well attended. I believe we served, or PD served, over 600 hot dogs. Is that correct? Okay, so 600 hot dogs there. And then the little monument there between the mayor and mayor pro tem, the city of Lemoore received the Kings County Economic Development Corporation as Economic Development Partner of the Year. So council and I attended the annual dinner and got the award, and we also received some certificates from our elected officials. So I'd just like to thank everybody who voted for the city and for the support of council to get it done. Thank you. That's it.
Okay, well, let's see here. Consent calendar. Items considered routine in nature are placed on the consent calendar. They will be considered and voted upon in one vote as one item unless a council member or a member of the public requests individual consideration. 3-1, approval of the minutes regular meeting, October 19th, 2021. 3-2, approval of the side letter number 1 between the city of Lemoore and the General Association of Service Employees Gas bargaining unit for MOU 2022. 3-3, approval budget amendment for Comcast Internet Services, and 3-4, approval of an addendum to mitigated negative declaration for Farm Lemoore LLC cannabis cultivation project and the association mitigation monitoring and reporting program. So would anybody on council like to pull any of the consent items? Yep,
I'd like to pull 3.3, please.
3-3. Would anybody else like to pull anything else?
3-4, please.
3-4. Okay, none. Would anyone from the public like to pull either 3-1 or 3-2? Marissa, do you have anybody? Okay, so looking for a motion to accept 3-1, 3-2.
I'll make the motion.
So Mr. Cheney
I'll second.
and so Mr. Cheney, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Ms. Matthew,
Aye.
Mr. Orth,
Aye.
and Mr. Gornick, I'm sorry.
Young man Gordon, that's good.
I vote aye as well. So 3-1 and 3-2 pass, and we're on to 3-3. Who's going to take that?
Ms. Spear.
Mr. Beer.
Councilmember Gornick, did you have a specific question you'd like me to answer?
What fees does the city receive on this particular item? Is this for the service that's provided to the city itself?
No, this is the fees the city pays to provide internet connectivity for all city employees.
Okay. It's not anything to do with any fees that municipalities receive from Comcast?
No, it has nothing to do with their franchise fees.
Okay.
This is simply the fact that currently, and for as long as I've known, the city has been using Unwired as our internet service provider, both hardline internet and for Wi-Fi. And unfortunately, the speeds that we are provided through Unwired are just not sufficient for continuing city business. So if you'll recall, we had to cancel a council meeting a few months back because we had some internet connectivity problems. It was not just in this building, but it is greatly affecting our efficiency and our ability to do business. So we need a more robust internet service provider, and that is Comcast.
You didn't look into Kings County Net?
You mean through the school district? No,
You didn't, or you just don't?
to my knowledge, no.
Do you know you could?
I knew that they provided it for some, but I don't think they have speeds that can compete with Comcast, but we did not ask for a quote, no.
All right. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Okay, would anybody in the public like to comment on 3-3? Marissa? Okay, back to the council. So I'm looking for a motion to accept 3-3.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Mrs. Matthews, I'm looking for a second.
I'll second it.
Mr. Orth, Ms. Matthews, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Orth,
Aye.
Mr. Gornick,
I'll abstain.
and Mr. Cheney.
Aye.
I vote aye as well. 3-3 passes.
So Mr. Gornick, in your abstention, you should state why you're abstaining as well.
I'm under contract with the California Education Technology Fund. So just to be cautious on this.
Thank you.
Okay, it's 3-4. Nathan, are you?
Yeah, I'll take that one. So, Councilmember Cheney, is there any specific questions you have regarding this item?
No, actually, no questions, just comments. I've gotten a lot of feedback from the community regarding cultivation marijuana and their opposition to us or the city being involved in it. And it goes along with my my beliefs also. So no real questions. I understand everything that's going on, but my beliefs and the people who have expressed, or citizens that have expressed a opposition to this.
All right, well, so let's go ahead. Does council? Yes.
Yeah, I've got, Nathan, at the last meeting, we talked about, or I particularly brought up, and other people talked about it as well, but mitigation, some of the odors,
Mhm.
the water issues that you're working with. And I think there were a couple others that were on there, and I believe they were in the report as well.
Yeah,
So-
so what Peoples has talked with the Surf Ranch, and they're getting together. They told me next week to start hammering out details with the Surf Ranch.
Okay.
Yeah, but this is different. Yeah, this is Farm Lemoore property, and all this was originally when we did the mitigated neg deck. This was going to be the Cashin million square feet of warehousing going in. So we did a mitigated neg deck when that development went a different direction and we turned it into cannabis. This is, the addendum was previously adopted, the mitigated neg deck, but this was requested by the California Department of Food and Ag as part of their review for Farm Lemoore for their annual licensing. So right now they have all their provisionals, and they asked us to go back and double check. And the additional environmental review did not reveal any other impacts that were not previously discussed in the original CEQA document. So this was at the request of the California Department of Food and Ag. They've actually seen the mitigated neg deck because they wanted to get looking at it, but they'll get an official copy of it once we pass it, if we pass it.
Well, I understand that, but they don't live here. And one of the things that I think is going to be a real challenge for us. Right now we have, I don't know, how many acres outdoors do we have in bloom?
In bloom right now, probably about 120 maybe.
Yeah.
They cut some of it out and the rest is going down.
And so if we add another 200 acres in another couple of years, that's kind of doubling the capacity that we have, I would imagine. One question is, do you see us doing any more or recruiting any more for that?
I actually had this conversation with the city attorney today about a potential moratorium. We already have oil producers. We have some flower producers. So my take, and I've asked her to give me her legal opinion on it, is can we at this point say we've got our operators, we're going to continue to invest in the operators we have and not bring in a whole lot of new business. So if you're already in the pipeline, I think we've got sufficient operators now. We've got about 7 operators in town, and I think that's plenty.
And my recommendation in that discussion with Nathan was to have it brought back before council as an agenda item for approval so that the public could also participate in the same discussion. Anyone interested?
I think that's wise because we're all getting calls, and we don't have to get calls. We can just walk outside and smell it. And so when we talk about adding more, people are wondering, well, where's it going to end? I mean, we used to deal with the tomato smell there, and then the sewer plant, and now we have a new smell. And we used to have a Prino, and so just a word to the wise in terms of how we're doing things. I think it's good that you're looking at, focusing on, okay, this may be it, maybe not. I don't know, but I think that's good. At least people understand that we're not going to turn every open field into marijuana. Yeah. So, but I do think it's helpful if we can address those other things that were brought up with people's sooner rather than at least give us a progress report at each meeting. That would be helpful. So.
Okay. Does any, go ahead and open it up to the public. Does any from the public have a comment on this?
Tom Reed, Park Avenue, Lemoore, California. When you do bring that before the council, as far as limiting any future prospects, you might want to put something in there to limit it to the current acreage. that is under bloom or will be under bloom, and not just keep adding new acreage with the current members. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Marissa, do you have any?
I don't.
Okay, so back to council. So I'm looking for a motion for 3-4.
I'll make the motion.
Mrs. Matthews. I need a second. Mr. Orth. Ms. Matthews, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Orth,
Aye.
Mr. Gornick,
Aye.
Mr. Cheney.
No,
I vote aye as well. Motion passes 3-4. Public hearing, section number 4. 4-1. Introduction and the first reading ordinance 2021-08, adding chapter 1.5 to title 4 of the Lemoore Municipal Code, implementing mandatory organic waste disposal reduction, SB 1383. Mrs. Champion.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I am here before you tonight for the first reading and introduction of the Organic Waste and Disposal Reduction SB 1383 ordinance. So back in March of this year, I gave a very riveting and lengthy presentation on SB 1383, and which is still should be up on the website for anybody who wants to go back and relive that. So what this is tonight is it's the first step in the city becoming compliant with the state's mandate for SB 1383. We are required to have an ordinance in place that sets the rules and regulations for organic waste and disposal. It's a very robust ordinance. It covers a lot of topics from residential waste to commercial waste to generating and food recycling. So with that, I don't know if you want to open the public hearing or if you have any questions.
That's it? You're done already?
That's it.
I thought there was a lot more than that. All right. Do you have, council, you guys have any questions for her?
Yeah, so are we going to be able to improve our existing wastewater treatment facility as we take on this thing?
So this is not so much with wastewater, this is food, organic waste. So this bill is more focused towards reusable food and organics that you put in your green recycling can, not so much on the wastewater aspect of it.
So a food processor and the waste that comes in with the food that's being processed, that doesn't go into our sewer plant.
It goes more towards the landfills right now. Mhm. Only stuff that would be flushed down your toilet system would be going to our wastewater plant. Otherwise, your food would be going to the landfills.
Okay.
Councilmember Gornick, if I may, if people are sending food waste down the garbage disposal, that does end up in the wastewater plant. And that increases the solids and it increases the overall cost to maintain that. So if people get in the habit of not using the garbage disposal and putting their food in their green can to go to the landfill, it will have a secondary benefit on the wastewater plant. It'll just be less solids, less we have to treat.
Cal Recycle does want to encourage people, though, even more so to try to recycle that use. So like a big plant manufacturer would be required that any food that was reusable, they recycle it to like a food bank instead of even composting it.
Okay.
Okay, so
Clear as mud.
Yeah.
This is a piggyback on the county's presentation last council meeting, so we're required to do it as well.
yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Anyways, council, does any council have anything else for Mrs. Champion? No, seeing none. So we're gonna go ahead and just open up to public. Anybody on public have anything to say or ask, add? Ms. Marissa? Nothing.
This is the public hearing time.
The public hearing time. So it's not open to the public. This is public hearing. Just let's not be clear on that. There's more mud. Okay, seeing none. We're gonna close public hearing. And we'll bring it back to council. So. We're looking for a motion to approve the ordinance and the first reading ordinance implementing mandatory organic waste disposal reduction in compliance with SB 1383. Thank you for having that on the screen. So does anybody want to make that motion?
I'll make the motion.
Mrs. Matthews. I need a second. Mr. Gornick, yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Matthews, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Gornick,
Yes.
Mr. Orth,
Yes.
Mr. Cheney,
Aye.
and I vote aye as well.
Thank
So,
you.
4-1 passes.
All right.
And we're going to go to new business. And looks like there is none, which takes us into, the key word here is brief. And it says brief city council reports and requests. Mr. Orth, you want to go first?
Due to current situations, I'm going to pass.
Thank you, sir. Okay, Mr. Warnick.
I want to thank the chief of police and everybody for the dedication of opening the call center. It's good. Nice to see everybody there. Nice to see a big check there too. That was fun. Good events downtown this week as well. So thank you to everybody. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Cheney.
I attended the dedication of the dispatch center at the Lemoore Police Department. Very proud, very nice building. It's a lot nicer and it seems a lot bigger than the entire PD. But anyway, it was a very nice building and it was nice that we got some assistance from the state, bringing us down some money, and also National Night Out same night. As probably one of the biggest national night outs I've seen. The most, I'm talking the most people, and went very well. And those 600 hot dogs, they didn't last very long. And then I would also like to commend the Officer of the Year, Officer Gresham, as well as Firefighter of the Year, Chris Scaldi. They both obviously worked very hard, did a lot of good things to help the people of Lemoore, and I just want to commend them for their efforts. And that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Cheney. Ms. Matthews, are you ready for your brief city council report?
You've said that like 3 times, like it's gonna do something. No, I'll try to be
I'm
briefer.
just teasing with you.
Sure. I volunteered with KCOA and Lifeway Church for the food distribution on the 29th. There were 224 Lemoore families that were served. The next distribution is November 9th at 9 a.m. at Lifeway Church, which is on Bush Street, not Avenue, right? Street. But don't get there at 9 because they're almost out of product then. So if you're in need, please come by. I also was contacted by a member of the community that wanted me to inform the community that Dr. Brian Beaudry, chiropractor and former council member for Lemoore, has passed. He was retired and living in Lake Shastina, California. I'm not sure what the years was that he served as council member, but it was quite a while ago. Also attended the last Rock in the Arbor. Sad to see them go for now, but excited for them to come back next year. Also attended the Rudy Salas's presentation of the $2 million check to Lemoore PD for our dispatch center. Went on the tour of the facility, which, like everybody else had said, truly amazing. So super excited. Can't wait till that gets going. I also volunteered at Lemoore Police Department's National Night Out. There was an amazing turnout, as everyone said. Those 600 hot dogs went real quick. I also had the opportunity to hang out with some pretty amazing people. They were pretty funny too. So shout out to the volunteers in policing that I got to hang out with that night. There was a skeleton competition downtown. I don't know if everybody is aware of that, but there were some downtown merchants that received and decorated some skeletons for just trying to get into the holiday spirit for Halloween. So I was able to help judge some of those. I have to say, they were all great. Like everybody went above and beyond. And if you get a chance, go down. They're probably gone now. Never mind. You can't go down and see them. But there's some pictures on the Lemoore Parks and Rec Facebook page if you want to see some of them. They were pretty creative, pretty amazing. And I know that they're going to continue that tradition and hope to see it grow next year. And I'm excited to see that as well. I've also volunteered with Parks and Recs. Was the night before Halloween. As many mentioned, it was very well attended. We ran out of candy before it was over, which is good and bad. Downtown merchants donated items for the raffle that they raffled off as well. There was live music, bounce houses, outdoor dining, beer garden, pictures with Sally, and the Sanderson sisters were out and about. Love seeing all the families out having a great evening and all the creative costumes that were downtown. Just want to remind everyone that the Downtown Lemoore Holiday Stroll will be November 20th from 3 to 7 p.m., obviously downtown. Veterans Day 3 and 5K run/walk is November 6th coming up at 7:45 a.m. You can still register if you're interested in doing that at runsignup.com. The fee is $35 if you want to enter that. The 8th Annual Veterans Day Parade is November 11th at 6 p.m. If you're interested in participating with a float or walking or in whatever way, please contact Parks and Rec. I also want to thank our Police Officer of the Year and our Volunteer Firefighter of the Year for all they do. I'm glad that we were able to honor them tonight. And last but not least, I want to thank the mayor for his speech in receiving this award at the King's EDC event that they had where that was presented. He did a great job and did our city proud. So thank you, Mayor.
Standing ovation.
You guys are too much.
I'm being serious.
I know you're being serious,
Okay.
but it's embarrassing, man. Look I feel it.
Oh,
Is that it? Are you done?
That's it.
All right. Well, thank you. So thank you, Ms. Matthews. I would like to thank, first of all, Mr. Gornick for his invocation tonight. That was a new touch and a new direction, and I really enjoyed it. I really did. I'd like to thank Chief Kendall for his efforts in his run that I saw him out there doing this morning, and the American Legion Post 100 for their recognition of the Officer of the Year and the Firefighter of the Year. And I'd like to thank Bruce Jimmer for coming over and presenting Chris the award, and Chief for presenting his award also. And the $2 million check from Mr. Solis's office. Yeah, I really wanted to be there for that, and I couldn't get the day off, and I'm sorry about that. And I got on here, the King's EDC dinner. That was quite fun. It was. I did not know I was going to have to get up and give a speech to a room full of 100 and something odd people.
you did great.
And I didn't feel like I did great, but luckily it's not on the internet anywhere and you can't go and find it. So don't bother looking.
I kind of resent the comment of odd people there that you said.
Did I say odd people? I didn't. If I did, I didn't mean to. Maybe I'm thinking of myself. And so with that being said, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Good.